I did know several husbands.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will call the order of this regular city council meeting of February 5th, 2024 to order. If you're in the city council chambers and able to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Madam Clerk, may we have the roll call, please?
Flaherty.
Here.
Nowak is absent. Chess.
Here.
Vincent.
Here.
Wren.
Here.
Thank you.
No closed session this evening to report down. We'll move to item 5, presentations. And I'll turn that over to Councilmember Flaherty, who is chair of the interview and nominating committee.
Thank you, Mayor Wren. I'm pleased that Alan Vincent and I are the interview and nominating subcommittee of the City Council. And over the past few months, we've interviewed a number of candidates to be considered for appointment to the Education Commission. At a prior meeting, we had forwarded a recommendation to the full City Council to appoint Ann Launt to the Education Commission. And that was back in our meeting of October 2, 2023, last year. Finally, our schedules align and Ann is here tonight to be formally introduced to the City Council and to the community at large. Ann, if you please come forward and I'll say some nice things about you as you walk. Ann has been a resident of Pleasant Hill for over 35 years, and she is a big fan of public schools. She graduated from a public high school in Sacramento, then UC Berkeley and UC Law. And she and her husband raised their daughter in Pleasant Hill, who attended Sequoia and College Park, and is now also a graduate of Cal. Ann is a retired career prosecutor, interested in seeing what she can do to help public schools succeed. She's volunteered in the past for the Diablo Ballet programs at the Shadelands Community Center, the Tice Valley facility, and also at the Lesher Center. She dove right in to help the Education Commission with their booth at Light Up the Night and is the commission's liaison to the Valley View Middle School. Ann, welcome, and the stage is yours.
Thank you. What you said it all. I don't have anything to add. I'm looking forward to working with the other members of the Education Commission. They're very fun, very active, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thank you for your service and thank you for getting involved. We very much appreciate you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that presentation. Moving on to 5.2, we're honored to have an update from the Pleasant Hill Rec and Park District programs. And Michelle's already walking down, but I formally invite you to our Pleasant Hill Rec and Park District Manager, Michelle Lacey, for your presentation tonight.
Thank you, Mayor Wren, members of the council, esteemed city staff. It's my pleasure to come today. Thank you for the invitation to come give you an update on the district. It's a little unfortunate that it aligned about a week after we had the mayor's conference, or the mayor's breakfast. So tonight you'll hear a couple of things that I thought would be good for the general public who might not have been able to see the presentation at the mayor's breakfast, as well as some additional information. And so, as you all know, we are your partners across the street, and we are what I like to affectionately call ourselves. Your rec and park department. You don't have a park and rec department, so we do that on your behalf as a special district. We're our own government entity, and so we operate all of your parks they're community parks. They belong to the district, but they're community parks. All the parks within the city boundaries of Pleasant Hill, and as well as most of the facilities. And so we have 269 acres of parkland, which most of you know. 11 parks, says 2 pools. We actually only have 1 pool. We do use the pool at the Ed Center pool, so we count that one. Community centers, senior center and teen center, and the historic ranch house. And so that is what we have. So wanted to just kind of say, our busiest season is here. Spring and summer at Pleasant Hill Rec and Park District are nonstop and filled with action-packed fun. Staff has put together an exciting lineup of winning camps, activities, classes, and special events with a focus on bringing people together to play, connect, and enjoy positive shared experience. Our goal is to provide the ultimate win, lifelong memories of summer fun. So as you can see, the spring and summer spotlight, which includes our camp guide, will be hitting the local mailboxes this weekend. Hopefully, it'll be delivered to all Pleasant Hill residents. I know both of our agencies have had some issues with the post office in the north end of town. And so I know our staff, as well as city staff, have worked with the postmaster to attempt to remedy that. The Summer Camp Expo is going to be on Saturday, February 24th. Families who register for summer camps and aquatics swim lessons that day from 9 to 12 will receive a 10% discount on eligible programs. So last year, we exceeded expectations and basically kind of broke the software system. So we've been assured this year by the software company that those things have been fixed. Luckily, we did reach out to a couple of our neighbors that use our same software system, such as the city of Berkeley. They had a successful registration day with over $1 million and had no bugs. They had the same bugs we did last year. So hopefully that is fixed for anyone who's watching and wants to make sure that they get an opportunity to get into camp. And so we're super excited about that. The winning summer is a nod to the Olympics this summer, but trying not to infringe on any Olympic rights. So thank you to my marketing manager, Jen Thoitz, who tries to keep us out of infringement issues. So we have, I just wanted to touch on the 2024 community events. So we have a number of events throughout the year, some of them small, some of them large. I know that all of us here, all of the council members in attendance, myself, and hopefully a lot of members of the audience have created lifelong memories at some of these events. I know some of my favorite ones are all hanging out with all of you at Blues and Brews. And one of my favorites in our drive-through holiday event, which was the car wash that Mayor Wren sponsored. And so we're excited to be back up to full swing and have all of these upcoming events. I'm hoping that later today on your consent calendar, that the city, that you all approve the sponsorship package that we have proposed. And we appreciate you and the city for making sure that these events happen within our city. And so, and as a turn, I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that the district is also going to continue to fiscally sponsor your concerts in the lake, and as well as the 4th of July. So we will continue to do that. Park visitors. So I thought this was interesting for everyone to see. We use a Placer AI, which is a analytics company that's utilized nationwide, mostly by large brands and shopping, and a lot of municipalities are using it to try to figure out how many people are coming into things like parks where we don't have counters and we can't identify how many people. And so for, a town of a city of our size, district of our size, we had over 600,000 people attend one of our major parks. And so this is pretty impressive. That means that our parks are well utilized. If you go, if any of you have been into Pleasant Hill Park or Pleasant Oaks Park on a warm day, It's teeming with people. It's packed. Lots of people are creating memories. And so we're super excited about that. With that, that shows us that all of our parks are well utilized. We have lots and lots of needs. The council may be aware, or I'm sure you are aware, that in 2009, the district passed a bond, Measure E, and that bond got us 3 community buildings and a brand new park. Money doesn't go as far these days, but we were able to do a lot with that money. And so what that means is that there's another part of our park system that's aging. We have, equipment that's aging. We have a lack of play features in the north end of town, and we have a need for funding. Those things are expensive, and we cannot fund those without asking our voters for a potential bond measure. And so last fall, our district hired True North Research to study the feasibility of a bond measure. And one of the questions asked of potential voters was, which projects or improvements are most important to you? And so this is the result of that. You can see that it goes from the most important at the top to the least important at the bottom. And so you can see that renovating our older parks and recreation facilities to bring them up to date is the highest priority. Improving the network of walking, hiking, and biking trails is second. And then upgrading the children's playground is third. And so one of the things we would like to consider in the future is in our network of walking, hiking, and biking trails is partnering with the city. We know that you're going to be looking at your bike and ped master plan. And so we're hoping that maybe we have some funding to bring to the table in the future, especially to get people out of their cars and safely to our parks. So we're excited about those opportunities. So that, and then I thought this would be interesting for the council. So as part of that, as part of the research that we did, we asked what are the most important issues that voters have, likely voters have in our city. And so what we found out was, well, education is always usually, especially in communities like ours, the most important, but the next 4 are all pretty closely ranked, and all 4 of those are things that the city and the district handle, right? So we have of the issues, the most important things to our voters, either the city handles or we as the park district handles. And of basically the repairing and maintaining local parks and recreation facilities is almost as important as reducing crime and gang activity. So, those do go hand in hand. I'm a firm believer that if you have well-maintained parks and safe places for people to be, then you do reduce the opportunities for crime activity. And so that was really great news for me as a park and rec professional, that our community really values the things that are most important, the things that we do at the park district as well as the city. So we're talking about bond measures, a potential bond measure last Friday. The board met at their annual planning session. They provided staff with some direction. And so we haven't made any final decisions, but I did receive direction that in the spring of 2024, we're going to be doing some more community education and support and talking to people about potential projects. And then in May, the board is going to consider putting a special election, a measure on the special election ballot for August of 2027. So we are going to be moving forward with that. And so the board will be considering that in May. And then I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank not only the city staff, but all of our community partners who make this place a fantastic place to live, work, and play. While the district enjoys kind of being the ringleader in some of these and bringing all the people together, we couldn't do it on our own. And so we really appreciate the support. And again, I'll put a plug for your consent calendar item to approve the the sponsorship request. And so with that, Parks Make Life Better. There's ways to follow us, and I will take any questions.
Council members? Councilmember Chess.
Hello.
Good to see you. Couple questions. First question I had was, I believe you guys did I totally recall you guys doing a master plan in 2018.
Correct.
So you have a ton of research that went into that master plan, and now you're doing this research for your bond measure. Did things dramatically change? How do you kind of marry all of that work that was done then? I know that's pre-pandemic, but
Yeah, well,
how did you marry that? I'm just
yeah,
curious.
well, I mean, there's no final decisions that have been made. And so the master plan was always a roadmap at the time, and it's a snapshot in time of what people wanted.
Hmm.
And so, so we're still using that as a guiding document of the things that, at the time the community wanted, and identifying parks that needed to be updated. But the individual elements may change.
Mhm.
So, so instead of adding more bocce courts, we may add more pickleball courts, because now pickleball is, is important. But really, even with the master plan, when we adopted that, there was still going to be, every time a park was looked at, we were going to do a master planning process and a design process for that park at that time.
Mhm.
So that's kind of, we're going the same way. We didn't waste any of that information. We're just kind of building upon it.
Actually, I had another one, Mayor.
Sure.
Okay.
Go for it.
Thank you. So I noticed you had a potential bond date of August of this year.
Correct.
So we have a bond, we all know you have a bond, this statewide measure about the 55%, bringing the 55% down.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
kind of curious, why would you go
Yeah.
then versus perhaps waiting for that to possibly pass and lowering that threshold?
That is a great question. So the board had a robust conversation about that on Friday.
Okay.
So for those who may not be aware, the state legislature has put on a measure on the November ballot called ACA 1. And what that does is that lowers the vote threshold needed to pass an infrastructure bond from 66.6% to 55%. So if that passes, we would only need 55%. That particular measure, the constitutional amendment that is on that ballot, will actually apply to all of anything on that ballot. The board had a robust discussion about that, and they decided that they wanted an opportunity to talk to the voters directly without all of the noise in November. They're pretty confident that we have support for the things that we do, standing alone on our own. And they were very confident that they could get the 66.6%, as well as they wanted to come to the voters and say, hey, we're confident. We know you need this. We're going to go at the original 66.6%. And we could have waited until November. And so I think mostly what it is about, it really is just telling our own story and not getting caught up with everything else. If we aren't successful in the special election and ACA 1 passes in November, then we may look at something in the following year to garner that 55%. So.
Thanks.
And just to be clear, we haven't made the final decision. So if things change between now and May and, the polling isn't favorable for us, then we may consider to just do November.
Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Vincent.
Hi, General Manager Lacy. Would the August election be a mail only?
Yes.
And then I just have a comment because I've attended a lot of your events and they get better and better every year. And I know if there's a situation such as long lines, people come up with ideas to eliminate the lines the next time around. Haunted Trail was one, which was really well done this last year. So thank you for that. And I really, working there, realize how diverse our community is becoming. There's a great deal of diversity in the people that attend. And I know Rec and Park has been working on that. So thank you.
I just wanted to echo my gratitude for Rick and Park and all you do, helping raise some kids here in Pleasant Hill. Many of those events were great memories for our family, going out there as the girls were getting older and, you know, it's coming up with all the new summer classes too. Like my daughters attended those and got, I call it babysitting certified. I don't know if that's the right class, but they had some cooking classes and some other things through summer camps and had a really great time. So anyone at home watching, I definitely encourage. It's a great thing for your kids to get involved too. And I believe it's February 24th. 24th. So encourage people to get there early and get a 10% discount. I think I saw there too. So save a little money if you register early. And then I forgot when he came up, I forgot to recognize fellow elected. So thank you, Board Chair Sandy Vincent for being here tonight as well. So I appreciate you being in attendance with us. Any other questions for General Manager Lacy at this point?
Oh,
All right.
no question.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
presentation, all you do.
Thank you.
All right, with that, moving on to agenda item 6 is our city manager comments. I'd like to invite our city manager, Ethan Bindernagel, for his statements.
Thank you, Mayor Rinn and council members. Good evening. A couple of updates for you this evening. Obviously, this weekend's storm event brought gusty winds and heavy rains, but relatively speaking, few major incidents here in Pleasant Hill compared to other communities across the Bay Area and statewide. There were 7 trees that fell here on Sunday, some of which that did block roadways, but city staff from our maintenance division and our police department responded appropriately and in a timely fashion to keep those roadways operational, and we're grateful for that effort. City staff also had coordinated throughout the storm event and since with PG&E to keep in touch regarding the restoration of power in our community, which I know is an ongoing issue for some neighborhoods here in town. Touching on another event last month, Pleasant Hill employees and community partners from Pleasant Hill Rec and Park and CERT, which is our Community Emergency Response Team, took part in a tabletop exercise at the Pleasant Hill PD, simulating a major disaster. The PD serves as the city's emergency operations center, and the exercise involved activating the EOC and responding to an earthquake scenario. During the exercise, work groups practiced receiving and reacting to crisis information, determining priority of response, and reallocating city resources to respond appropriately in a crisis. Lastly, or second last, I should say, as we are aware, the city of Pleasant Hill is transitioning to a by-district election system, which will take effect in November of 24 general election later this year. The city has launched a new lookup tool online that allows residents to enter their addresses to determine which district they are in. Residents can find the new tool on the city's website at www.pleasanthillca.org/mydistrict. And lastly, I want to let everyone know as a reminder that City Hall will be closed on next Monday, the 12th of February, in observance of Lincoln's birthday, and city offices will reopen on Tuesday, the 13th at 8:30 a.m. That concludes my report. Happy to yield any questions.
Do we have questions for our city manager this time? All right, if not, we'll close agenda item 6. Move on to agenda item 7 is council announcements and reports. Reports from council members on meetings or conferences attended at city expense. Councilmember Chess, do you want to lead with yours first, or I can? The mayor's conference, or
Yes, we,
we're in attendance?
well, the first thing before the mayor's conference, I believe, was my attendance at the State of the City event, which was Mayor Wren, spectacular, Board Chair Vincent, spectacular. No, it was great to be there. I always enjoy that event, and so I was happy to be there. Also attended the mayor's conference along with Vice Mayor Nowak and Mayor Wren. The city of El Cerrito hosted, and the county recorder Kristen Connolly was there, kind of giving the cities an update on all the election stuff that's happening, and encouraging the cities to communicate all the dates and deadlines and things like that as best we can to our constituents, as there's an election coming up very soon. Also attended the College Park crab feed as well, I think with most of us on the dais as well. Had a great time there. And then you want me to start off, or you want to?
Yeah, I was just going to finish the first part of conferences or meetings at city's expense and then go into more general
Okay.
announcement of that. So if we hold that thought.
I'll hold that thought.
I won't steal your thunder on the next part.
Oh, no,
there.
no, that's your thought.
But the last meeting at city expense, I also attended the El Cerrito mayor's conference. And the only other thing I want to say, but we were fortunate enough to have Kristen Connolly do a personal presentation to the council at a previous meeting here this year. And it's very important there's a little bit of confusion about how ballots are being distributed, especially amongst now the second most, what they call non-party preference, or NPP for slang, people who are neither declared Democrat or Republicans or other party affiliations, and what ballots they can get at that. So, some of you have already received, hopefully all received your sample ballots, but if you wanted to vote on a Democrat ballot, but you were declared no party preference, they have something called, I believe it's called crossover balloting, where you're able to vote for a Democrat candidate if you so choose in the primary. And then if you wanted to vote for a Republican candidate, one of the criteria, though, the Republican Party does require that you declare being part of the Republican Party for that. So there's some confusion out there, and the statistics, I think, was 19 point something percent of Pleasant Hill are no party preference, which is second behind the Democrat party here. So as more and more majority are becoming no party preference, if they want to vote for either a Democrat or Republican candidate in the primaries, there is a little bit of caveats on how to do that if you want to choose to vote for either one of those parties there. So just education out there, trying to get the word out and help people to vote, and confusion day of, everybody should be getting a ballot coming up. You can take your ballot to any polling place, and they do everything. Most of the ballots returned in our drop boxes or by mail. Almost 90% the last time were returned and mailed. So they've gone to non-having polling machines counting at the precincts now. Everything's brought back to the central location for efficiency and accuracy. So I just wanted to get that plug in. Hope everyone's engaged. I know voter apathy is an all-time high, so hopefully people want to get out there and vote. Your vote does matter, and people have a voice there. So, all right, that concludes mine. I think city expense. Did you go to anything else? Okay, cool. I didn't want to skip over you there. Okay, now we'll go into general announcements. Councilman,
The rookie completely.
you're just on a roll. I
Yeah,
didn't want to
it's
stop
just-
you.
I
You're
just want-
volunteering
yeah.
announcements. And we'll go to the second half of that.
Yeah.
General announcements from council members. Go ahead, council membership.
Sure, thank you. I, like everyone else, attended the College Park High School Crab Feed, had a lovely time, and also attended the mayor's breakfast, where I was wowed by the presentation by the mayor on the state of our city. Really touting the accomplishments of the prior administration, I think, but
Everything was due to the previous mayor, I think. I'll do accolades.
but more importantly, I do want to thank our staff for all of their overtime work this past weekend. I know it was a lot of work involving a lot of Ann James' crew and other folks here at City Hall. So I really appreciate everything you did, even though my power remains out. I know that's something I wish the PG&E had the level of service and dedication that we have here in the city of Pleasant Hill. So if they did, my power would be on.
A few others. Okay. Councilmember Chess, do you want to do your last announcement there about
Oh.
something fun? maybe
Oh.
Potentially?
Yes. So, well, and you're a good sport for participating. So I just happened to follow the Facebook page of Pleasant Hill, Missouri. And I noticed that Pleasant Hill, Missouri had a whole big thing about the Chiefs this week, and the whole like ways that this people in the city could participate and to support the Chiefs. And so I was communicating with the mayor, and I said we should have a contest because, of course, we're a big Niner city here in the Bay Area and here in Pleasant Hill. So why not challenge Pleasant Hill, Missouri to some kind of friendly Super Bowl wager? And so I just kind of planted that seed in Mayor Wren's head. And then I think you should tell him what you proposed, because none of that, that was all you. After
Well,
that.
it's still in the works. I haven't heard back from them yet, but we definitely reached out to them that we were willing to challenge them. And we just thought it'd be something fun if, this won't happen, the Chiefs won't win, but because it's always gonna be all 49ers. But if for some reason the 49ers don't win, then we would, we're gonna partner up with our Chamber of Commerce too and send some things from local businesses over there. And then if they wanted to send me Pleasant Hill, Missouri merchandise, their stuff, I would wear it if it's a t-shirt or a coffee mug or whatever, and take a photo of me as the losing mayor in the battle, but hopefully the Niners come through and that won't have to happen. But I'm willing to do that to represent Pleasant Hill and the pride we have in our city and go from there. So I made it a little fun way and who knows how it goes. But thank you, Councilmember Chess. for
Sure,
doing
we've thrown down the gauntlet. If you're watching Mayor John King,
Pleasant Hill, Missouri.
Pleasant Hill, Missouri, it's time to respond.
that. The challenge is on. Councilmember Vincent, do you have anything?
Well, first of all, I've got a story because back when I was on the 4th of July Commission one year, we had a woman that kept trying to register for the parade. And she couldn't figure out why I wasn't showing up and we were getting frustrated. And it turned out she was on the Pleasant Hill, Missouri, 4th of July parade website. So, I did attend the crab feed. There was a silent auction. The bids were by number and it turned out my wife and Councilmember Flaherty were bidding against each other without knowing it. And I don't think either one, did you get one?
Yeah, I got the train tickets.
Okay, well, thank you. Congratulations. And the other event I went to was a group of us who went to Martinez to the Loaves and Fishes kitchen. That was interesting. They gave us a presentation on what they do. It's a great organization. I was happy to actually be there in person to observe how it works. That's it.
All right, then I have some general announcements. First, I wanted to acknowledge and congratulate one of College Park alumni. Last night, Natalie Gonzalez was awarded a Grammy Award. She was College Park's Choir Singer of the Year in 2016. And she sings along with an amazing a cappella group called Tonality, who won for the record So She House. So congratulations to Natalie and College Park graduate there for winning a Grammy. So that's pretty cool. And then just other events I attended. I had the honor of speaking at the Carrington College graduation. It was great to see so many. They had all the first-time graduates in their family to complete graduation, and it was amazing to see how many people came and support them. Told them they're always love to stay in Pleasant Hill and hopefully work here and provide all those things. College Park Grab Feed was amazingly attended. It's for the kids, so that was a fun evening. And that concludes my announcements for tonight. We will roll into, we're on item number 8, the moment you've all been waiting for, or at least one in the room. Didn't have your speaker card. Did you want to speak tonight or on public comment? The public is welcome this time to address the city council on items on the consent calendar or other items not listed on the agenda, but with the council's jurisdiction. There'll be an opportunity to comment on other agenda items at the time they're discussed. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. You may provide comments by giving a speaker card to Leon or Dias over here. And Madam Clerk, do we have any speaker cards for anyone wishing to speak at this time?
I've received none.
Okay. Oh, okay, no problem. Hey, go ahead. We have
That's why-
snacks in the back if you want. I'll bring some out a little bit.
I came for the warmth and the light.
Yeah.
Me too.
There's a shower too, if you guys need some. It's a little awkward, but you guys will take your turns. But all right, with that, we'll close public comment if nobody's here to speak on that. We'll move to item number 9, the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be by the council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate council discussion of these items unless requested by a council member prior to the time the council votes on the motion to adopt. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll move the item.
You're ready. We have a
Second.
motion. Do we have a motion?
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Flaherty, second by Councilmember Vincent. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Flaherty,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nowak is absent. Chess,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Brand.
Yes. All right, consent is carried. We'll move on to action calendar 10 as to adopt a resolution accepting funds and authorizing expenditures from the California Supplemental Law Enforcement Services account, SLESA for the slang. Here, alphabet soup there for you tonight. And I believe we have Lieutenant Leonard in person here tonight to provide the report. Lieutenant Leonard, the floor is yours.
I will skip the alphabet soup portion of this, but Mayor Wren, council members Chess, Flaherty, and Vincent, thank you. Brian Leonard from the Pleasant Hill Police Department. I'm a lieutenant there, and tonight I'm presenting the plans that the PD has to improve safety, service, and transparency with the community related to the fiscal year 23-24 SLESA funds. For background, This funding began in 1996 from the Citizens Options for Public Safety. The funds are distributed through the state to the county, and then council approves what the PD's recommendations are or gives feedback on our written request to make these expenditures. Our agency receives $100,000 allocation for frontline law enforcement services. Staff has collaborated to identify 5 areas to address safety, service, and transparency using these funds. The first of which, is automated license plate readers. We've had these within our city for several years now. Technology's become a little bit more advanced. Equipment's become outdated in need of servicing and stuff like that. But these cameras record images of vehicles and license plates in heavily traveled areas within our city. It alerts officers of stolen vehicles, missing persons, or vehicles associated with other crimes. The recorded images are used as an investigative tool in many of our crimes on a daily basis. Police Department's requesting a commitment of $20,000 to purchase more and update the automated license plate reader equipment. As I mentioned, technology has evolved and the existing equipment has become outdated and or needs maintenance and replacement. Next slide. This is a photograph of it's called a flock camera in one of our neighborhoods in town here. So this is actually within our city. The old equipment is hardwired, and obviously now they're solar, so it's just modernized, more efficient for us, much better quality images. Some examples of where the police department's used our automated license plate reader. Like I said, we use it on a daily basis as part of our investigations. Some of the more high profile ones, the license plate readers played a huge part in solving the homicide that happened last year at Farrington's or outside of Farrington's. We were able to quickly identify the suspect vehicles involved and begin the investigation. That way we were able to identify the suspects. We also use these as a theft suppression and deterrent item where we're able to enter the license plates of known previously identified theft suspects. And then when they return to the city, the police department receives alerts that they're in the area and we can try to locate them and deter, prevent thefts at that time. And then we use it as part of our investigations kind of reactively on a daily basis on almost every case that we handle. It's just become a routine part of our technology that we're able to identify cars by license plate or some of the descriptive features and work backwards from there to identify our suspects. Next item is our dispatch supervisor position. So since its inception in 2019, $20,000 of this grant fund has been used to supplement the dispatch supervisor position. Currently, she oversees a staff of 10 people in the related duties. We're going to request a commitment of $20,000 again this year to keep supporting that position because she does a great job and is desperately needed in that role. Next one we have is a safety equipment item. Currently, Pleasant Hill PD has 2 crisis negotiators and 3 unmanned aerial system operators, or sometimes the slang term would be drone pilots that are part of our Central County SWAT team. The role of these positions has changed in recent years, where in years past, your negotiators and drone operators flew from a distance away, or the negotiators would operate by phone or loudspeaker, speaking from a distance. Even in our most recent kind of high profile incident in our city, we found that it was much more beneficial to have those negotiators and drone operators up close where they can make voice to voice communications to interact with people who are sometimes in, mental health crisis or whatever the best practice for us interacting with people in those situations. So our negotiators have now moved to the front up there with the tactical team. Unfortunately, up until this point, they don't have the same safety equipment that the tactical team members are that they have, specifically the body armor that is rated to protect against rifle ammunition. Excuse me. So PD is requesting $10,000 for body armor designed to protect those team members against rifle ammunition. And this is a photograph of a sample of the information. Important thing I think is to keep in mind that this equipment helps keep our people safe. And when they're safe in doing their job, we're able to help people in crisis, even suspects and our officers stay safer in the resolution of these kind of highly volatile situations. Next item we have is the unmanned aerial systems. So currently Pleasant Hill PD owns what I would call two medium-sized unmanned aerial systems and 4 smaller ones. Smaller ones primarily used for interior spaces. We're able to use these drones or unmanned aerial systems for incidents such as hazmat spills, search and rescue operations, in discovering explosives, disaster response, active shooter situations, and many others to include SWAT operations. They provide us with an overhead view, not available without a helicopter, at literally fractions of the cost. We're talking multi-million-dollar for a helicopter. We're in the hundreds to thousands on unmanned aerial systems. And they are able to be used in buildings that aren't accessible to people without exposing them to great risk. And the existing equipment that we have is used dozens of times per year. We currently have 3 trained personnel. We want to expand to 7 trained personnel. So the PD is requesting $20,000 for training and equipment updates for that unmanned aerial system program that we have. And then the next slide is a kind of a sample video clip. This is an example of some pictures of the 2 that we own, the left being the larger one, and then the one on the right is the smaller interior cell. But we have a small video, which kind of shows an example of how these drones and the perspective that they offer. Hopefully it works. This is obviously from one of the recent holiday events we had. And a kind of an overhead view of our downtown where someone's able to remotely operate this and, you know, pilot it around, elevate, come down closer. And the smaller ones, like I said, can be used in an interior spaces.
Lieutenant Leonard, I think you need some like music to go with that or something.
I will do that next time. Thank you,
Yeah,
Councilmember Best.
Some-
Do we have any licensing issues? If I mean, I don't want to trademark
American Park people
infringement
would
here.
know.
Michelle was very careful not to infringe on the Olympics. I don't want to get in trouble here. You could, the next item that we have is crisis communications training. So we would like to work with a consultant to provide training to our supervisory staff to aid in crisis communication, provide better news releases that we're able to be more effectively communicate and be more transparent with our public, media relations, training of staff, and then best practices in critical incidents. I think the city and the police department are fortunate. We do not deal with major critical incidents on a regular basis, which I think is a reflection of our community. The downside of that is on the odd time that it happens, we don't have a vast amount of experience in dealing with that type of messaging, those type of communications. So we want to hire a consultant that we're able to do that more effectively. So PD is requesting $30,000 allocated for the consulting services to improve professional communication with a strong emphasis on transparency. And then so the summary, $20,000 for the license plate reader, $20,000 for a dispatch supervisor position, $10,000 on the safety equipment, which would be body armor, $20,000 for, I'm sorry, $10,000 on safety equipment, $10,000 on, $20,000 on the unmanned aerial system, and $30,000 for crisis communications consultant training. And I'm open to any questions, but staff recommends the adoption of this resolution. Thank you.
You're good. Then let's, well, you know, we're gonna start firing questions. Need some water though. Sorry, Councilmember.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. As I understand, this program provides $100,000 per year.
Yes.
Is this allocation this year similar to prior years, or are there any major changes?
No, the $100,000 has remained the same since the inception. It varies according to agency size or.
I'm talking about like the $30,000 for communicating with the public and money for drones.
So the consultant would be a new position. Every year it has been, we've done different allocations with the exception of the dispatch supervisor position.
Thank you.
Councilmember Flaherty.
Are the license plate readers mobile or fixed locations?
Currently they're fixed locations. We used to have mobile ones that were fixed to the roof of police cars. We found that they were really ineffective and had constant issues. So we phased those out and we've gone to fixed positions.
Are you able to say how many we have in the city of Pleasant Hill?
I couldn't accurately say it. I think it's, the chief can confirm if he's able to. I think it's about 18 or 20 currently.
Thank you.
Councilmember Chess.
Thank you, Mayor Wren. I actually was going to ask you a question too. But the other question I had about, did I hear right on that, does the money also cover maintenance of those cameras as the readers as well, or is it just to purchase new readers?
It's also for the maintenance, the
Maintenance.
maintenance and.
Okay, great. And then the other thing I wanted to ask you about was in terms of with the consulting services, is our city PIO going to be involved in that in terms of making sure, you know, and I was also curious, like who actually writes the releases on behalf of the city? Is it a member of the police department, or is it a member of or is it our PIO that actually writes?
My
it?
experience has been that it depends. So the vast majority of the press releases or communications we have with council or within the city are written by the supervisor that's on duty. So for our positions, that's usually a corporal or a sergeant.
Okay.
For some of the more significant issues, people higher in the organization have written it. And then the city's PIO, I think, has been involved rarely, but sometimes is involved in more significant issues like the incident on Cleopatra more recently.
Okay, great. And then the last question I had was, do you guys do any kind of follow-up with this and let staff know or council about kind of, because you're talking about money,
Mhm.
you know, where you need money to do it. Do you ever come back and like months later and say, hey, this is what we ended up, kind of like a follow-up, like how many things we got or what you ended up, is there any kind of follow? I'd just be curious if there's any kind of
Truth be
follow-up.
told, I don't know. This is
Okay.
my first time being in
Okay,
the position of making this staff report.
Okay.
Chief Vermillion may know better than I.
Chief, if you don't mind using your microphone for, there you go, thanks.
okay, okay. Okay,
We could actually.
okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, no, you're welcome. Then my just general question is obviously with the license plate readers, there's always a concern for privacy in public groups and the tools that we're using it for is strictly license plates as part of the investigative process for you know, when crimes are committed and we're trying to investigate those kind of things. I know there's always some pushback out there about what that data is being used for. And that's just how I just wanted to hear it, that that's what we're using it for, is just to help us solve crimes. And
Yes,
as, you know, okay, great. And then kind of along the lines of Councilmember Chess's, I know that we have, just like a lot of cities in the Bay Area with the retail thefts and things like that, that we're hopefully able to utilize these to help track patterns or crime rings and things like that, that on these retail theft circuits as data when, you know, hopefully it flags that maybe involved in other crimes from other cities. And now, you know, we can hopefully, is it ever used proactively? Like, you know, like if somebody's going to go, we don't have to disclose, I don't know where all the locations are, but if somebody's going to go in the crossroads and, you know, if they're going to go shoplift at Dick's or Kohl's or something like that, would it alert us that this vehicle is wanted in 4 other retail crimes in the Bay Area or has been associated with it? And then we get that data or some kind of alert that we could be like, hey, we can catch them before it even happens, or we can catch them coming out with stuff that is, and not to show our cards on how we're, you know, crime fighting, but I think that could be an effective tool to help utilize that. Is that kind of how it goes down to?
Yes, and I'm comfortable. I don't think we're exposing any
Okay.
trade secrets. Yes, if in a situation like that, if our agency or another police agency, we use the term flagging that license plate. If they made an entry, we'll say Walnut Creek. If Walnut Creek made an entry about a specific license plate that said they are associated with, retail theft or any other type of crime, it'll specify what the crime is. When that license plate is detected on any of our cameras, an alert goes to all the police officers who are working that will say at this location, this license plate was detected. Here is what it has been associated with. And then it's incumbent on the officer who finds that to generate their own reasonable suspicion if they're going to make a contact or a detention of that individual.
Okay, great.
And furthermore on that too, when it comes to stolen vehicles, sometimes vehicles are stolen to.
Excuse me.
Oh,
I want to make sure your microphone's.
so yeah, it's on. Sometimes vehicles are stolen because people need transportation. A lot of times too, they're stolen to go out and commit other crimes. So when a vehicle does come into our city and it's stolen, a lot of times we try to get out there and prevent what they're about to do.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So hang tight. I don't think there's any public comment, but I got to run through it, open it up. But just in case we need something, we'll follow up with you. At this time, I'd like to open up public comment. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. You may provide comments by a speaker card provided to our clerk at the dais. Madam Clerk, do we have any speaker cards at this moment?
I have none.
There's no speaker cards this time. We'll close public comment, bring it back to further discussion and a motion from the council.
I have nothing to discuss, but I will move the item that we authorize the expenditure of the SLESA funds as presented by staff and by the lieutenant. Thank you.
Motion by Councilmember Flaherty and a second by Councilmember Chess. Madam Clerk, may we have the roll call vote, please?
Flaherty,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Noack is absent. Chess,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
and Wren.
Yes. Thank you very
Motion
much for your
carries.
presentation, Lieutenant. Appreciate it. I will move on to item 10.2 is adopt a resolution accepting the Oak Park Boulevard Sidewalk Gap Closure Project number 0423 as complete and authorizing the city engineer to issue and record a notice of completion and authorizing a transfer of project savings to the Measure K funds. And let's see, Anna is not here. Omar is here tonight and going to do the presentation for us. So
Correct.
thank you so much. Go ahead and take it away.
Good evening, Mayor Wren, and good evening, council members. My name is Omar Dina. I am the assistant engineer for the city. I'm here to give a presentation on a recently completed construction project, the Oak Park Boulevard Sidewalk Gap Closure Project. And my project tonight, or my presentation tonight, will just basically go over project details, some pictures, and we'll just go ahead and get started. So the Oak Park Boulevard Sidewalk Gap Closure Project, primarily on Oak Park Boulevard, as you guys see in the photo here. This gives a overview of the project location. It's in between Hook Avenue and the East Bay Mud Trail. East Bay Mud Trail is shown west of Manor Avenue. And everything in the yellow is the new sidewalk, curb and gutter that we installed as part of the project. Everything in the orange or the 4 orange circles represent new rectangular rapid flashing beacons, which are illuminated crosswalks for safety enhancements. The original project was new sidewalks on the north side of Oak Park Boulevard, and the added portions on the south side were added change orders to the project, as we had some cost savings with bids that we received, and also it completed the full gap closure in that area. Just some background for the general project here. City Council awarded the contract to Franco Engineering on July 7th, 2023 for the contract amount of $578,000, which included contingency. The project is funded with Measure K funds, primarily Measure K funds, and a small portion of TDA grant funds. $880,000 was budgeted for design, construction, contingency, and construction management. The TDA grant award was received on September 6, 2023, for 70,000, which increased the overall budget from 880 to 950. There's a picture there of Oak Park Boulevard and Manor, showing the new rectangular rapid flashing beacon and the new striping for the completed project. Just some construction highlights here. We installed over 5,600 square feet of new ADA compliant concrete sidewalk on the north and south sides of Oak Park Boulevard and on the west side of Hook Avenue. 2 new RRFBs, one at Manor Avenue and one at Via del Sol. Those were existing crosswalks within the city, but they did not have any safety enhancements as far as the RRFBs. The RRFBs are solar powered, so they charge during the day and hold charge for activations at nighttime and during the day. 3 new ADA compliant curb ramps, 224 tons of asphalt concrete, new signage, striping, and red curb, and also landscape restoration and mulch conform adjacent to the new sidewalk. One thing that's not on here that was included in the project was a handful of drain inlets, new drain inlets that were installed within the curb gutter, as shown in the picture right there. So I have some before and after photos of the project site. This first one is Hook Avenue. The top photos are the before photos, and the bottom photos show the new sidewalk, curb gutter, asphalt conform, and some of the red curb signage, striping. The photos were taken when it was a little bit rainy and wet last week, so I apologize for that.
Looks like it was staged, you know, like when you surveys of the water now.
It looks nice and
Drive the new
glossy.
car out there.
I
and
think it
so-
looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some photos there that are taken during the daytime that'll come up on the next slides. But you can see there on Hook Avenue, that's where we conform to the existing sidewalk there. So it just gives an idea of before and after. This is the south side of Oak Park Boulevard. As you can see, we didn't have any sidewalk or curb gutter in that location. And I was on site pretty much every day during construction. And what I can say was the neighbors within this area, I did speak to every single neighbor that had new sidewalk adjacent to their properties, and people are very, very happy. They're very thankful, and the general consensus was, you know, this creates more safety for a lot of kids in that area, connecting to the library and Pleasant Hill Middle School, and also the park over there. So everyone was very, very excited about the new sidewalk, and safety was one of the biggest things they were concerned with. Here's the north side of Oak Park Boulevard. To the west over there on the top is the East Bay Mud Trail and the city library. And the photo on the right is directed towards the freeway. But you can see there were some driveway conforms that we had to work with during construction for the properties that are on Oak Park Boulevard. And this kind of gives you an idea of before and after snapshots. This is another photo, Oak Park Boulevard and Manor Avenue. Manor was one of the corners that we added an ADA ramp and rectangular rapid beacon, just showing that there was a small asphalt pathway there. But the new sidewalk definitely enhances this area. One of the things to note was we did have to work with the utility companies, Contra Costa Water District for valve and hydrant relocations, PG&E, and also AT&T for some vault adjustments. So you can kind of see them in some of the photos. These are the 2 RRFBs. The left is the one at Via del Sol and Oak Park, and the right photo is Manor Avenue and Oak Park. One thing about the RRFBs is we do have cloud data that gives us counts and data for how many activations we get each day. This can be kind of compiled for city staff to see how much usage we get out of the beacons. Here's some more photos of non-rainy photos, Oak Park Boulevard, showing the new sidewalk, curb gutter, asphalt conform, signage and striping, and some of the landscape mulch over there. And this is the same set of photos for Hook Avenue. Going into fiscal impacts, as I mentioned before, the funding sources were from Measure K and TDA grant. 950,000 was the total. Actual expenses, the construction contract was for 500,000. Total change orders, which were the added sidewalk, curb gutter on the south side of Oak Park Boulevard, was about 247,000. Design for the project was a little bit over 50,000. Engineering staff time, 24,000. We had an SS4A grant match of 60,000. So this gives us a delta of 62,000. And city staff requests city council's authorization to return that 62,000 in unused funds from the project back to the city's Measure K fund to be allocated for future projects. And that is the staff recommendation. Adopt the proposed resolution accepting the Oak Park Boulevard Sidewalk Gap Closure Project as complete, and authorize the city engineer to issue and record a notice of completion and authorize a transfer of 62,000 of project savings to the Measure K fund. And with that said, is there any questions?
Great. Thank you, Omar. Appreciate the presentation. I'll open up to the council members. Councilmember Flaherty.
Sure. Just interested in the RRFB.
Yes.
So we've had them in other locations. I know there's at least one on Patterson that I see on a regular basis. Have we gathered the sort of usage data from those?
So
locations?
as far as I know, the two new beacons that we've installed, that cloud software is a new thing. The manufacturer has given us 1 year of free cloud software. And it's not much. I think it's a few hundred a year. So the old beacons, I don't think they're integrated with that software yet. It was something that the manufacturer threw in and said, hey, we want you guys to utilize this. Other cities are utilizing it. That's why they threw in the 1 year free. So I'm fairly confident that the other beacons do not have any of the data on the cloud-based software. They might have some sort of data if we go and connect to them or speak with the manufacturer.
If we had that data, what uses do you see for that data in the future?
I think that data will give us, it'll give us peak times of usage. It'll give us duration. We can adjust duration on how long the signal is operational for. So if we realize that we're getting, hey, a lot of usage right before school and right after school, we can increase those times to make it safer for kids. But I think that data will give us traffic patterns, and it'll help us with additional locations if we ever want to install beacons at adjacent to schools, parks, areas like that.
Thank you.
Councilmember Vincent.
Just to follow up, typically how long is the duration once you push the button to get across the street?
Typically 15 seconds.
Question?
All right.
Yeah.
Councilmember Chess, any questions?
Good, thank you.
Just as a follow-up too, and maybe this is for city staff, that we can, I'm not sure about education on some of these crossings, because when I see, I do drive this corridor quite a lot. And I see a lot of people that just use what I call just a traditional crosswalk. They won't hit the beacon and they'll just go at their own risk. We have this nice thing that'll flash and help them get across. So there, some of the data maybe skewed a little bit for those who, especially if you see some of the trails or the canal crossings that we have, and people are running or jogging and they just kind of look and then go rather than hit the beacon. So maybe we can look at, just as we come maybe through the bike and ped plan or something like that, that we kind of come out with some educational materials about safety and crosswalks, or just things like that, about people push the button or something like that. That I know the button's there and people know how to do it, but something to highlight
absolutely.
Push button or something.
I can talk with city staff, and I know Jonathan, the city engineer, is on the call. But we can incorporate that kind of education on, the outlook or some of the outreach that we do to at least educate, residents that, hey, this is here for your own benefit. And I think that's something that we can do. I know the project is going to be mentioned in those future releases to the public, which is the outlook and city at work and those types of things. But yeah, we can make a little bold section that can educate people more on the beacons.
Okay, cool. And I know we have a few other projects in the works right now that should hopefully be completed soon that will have similar things that we could help drive that education as well. So hang tight. We got open public comment here, so I want to make sure everybody has a chance to speak as well, and not just us on the dais. So I will open public comment on this item. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. You may provide comments by giving a speaker card to the clerk at the dais. Madam Clerk, do we have any speaker cards?
I've received none.
Okay, then we will close public comment, move back to the dais for further discussion and a motion.
Well, thank you, Omar. Excellent reporting. I'll move the item.
A motion by Councilmember Flaherty
I'll second.
and a second by Councilmember Vincent. Madam Clerk, may we have the roll call vote, please?
Flaherty,
Yes.
Noak's absence, Chess,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Rin.
Yes,
Motion carries
Motion
4-0.
thank you so much. Appreciate your
Thank you.
presentation, Omar.
Thanks, Omar.
All right, so when we go to the adjournment here, normally we're first and third Mondays, but given the holiday pattern for February, our next meeting will be on the 4th, which will be February 26, I'm sorry, Monday, February 26, 2024 will be our next city council meeting. With that, with no further business, I'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. Let's get some power back to some of the council members. Electricity.